So today we're talking about refrigerators. That's right, refrigerators. We decided to celebrate the pandemic by buying a new refrigerator. We had to. And as I was reading through the instructions, which I usually don't do, I guess that's another product of the pandemic, boredom, I learned a lot about my refrigerator. Like there was an app to download to go with it. Why would you need an app for your refrigerator? I downloaded it and learned that I could tell what mode the refrigerator was in and what the ice maker was doing and whether I needed a new filter yet. I guess it could be helpful. It'd be really helpful if it could tell you while you're at the grocery store what's inside the refrigerator. Do you really need milk? I can't remember. That would be helpful, and that day's probably coming. But what I also learned is the refrigerator has a Sabbath mode. Sabbath mode? What's up with that? So it turns out that for the refrigerator, Sabbath means that it doesn't make ice, the light doesn't come on when you open the door, and the alarm that's supposed to sound when you leave the door open is disengaged. So in other words, it doesn't work, but yet it keeps working on the Sabbath. So why is this the case? Well, there's some religions that believe that you shouldn't work on the Sabbath. In fact, they prescribe 39 categories of work which are prohibited on the Sabbath. This comes from the Old Testament, from ancient times, and originated with the creation story itself. God created the world in 6 days, and then the seventh day he rested. It was followed in the biblical chronology by the 10 Commandments, with the fourth one being, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. So it was really two steps to the Sabbath in that case. One is to rest like God did and connect with and respect God on that day. It was the seventh day of the week, and that's when some religions celebrate the Sabbath. That's what the Sabbath means. It's the seventh day of the week. Starts Friday night, lasts till Saturday night. That's the Sabbath. When Christianity came along, since Jesus was crucified on the day before the Sabbath and then was entombed and rose at the beginning of the week, Sunday is where that holy day, that Sabbath day, is celebrated. On Sunday, the first day of the week. And this is something that still affects us today, some 2,000 years later, with the blue laws. So named because a fellow wrote a book in the 18th century about the Sabbath rules, the Sunday rules, secular laws in Connecticut of things you couldn't do on Sunday. And that book was printed on blue paper. But anyway, there are people who get pretty upset about those rules being broken, and whether it's the religious prescription or the fact that they're secular laws. But what's interesting to me about the idea of a Sabbath mode is that there's no meaning behind it if you just go through the motions. There has to be some meaning to it for it to have real relevance in our life. And it doesn't for a lot of people, right? This is not a new phenomenon. In fact, Jesus dealt with it when he was here on earth, because some of these traditions are Jewish traditions, which Jesus was. And that's the people he was in and among for the most part were Jews. So let's see how Jesus handled it. If you turn to Matthew chapter 12, or if you want to just listen along, I'll read it. Matthew chapter 12, this is from the New International Version. At that time, Jesus went through the grain fields on the Sabbath. His disciples were hungry and began to pick some heads of grain and eat them. When the Pharisees saw this, they said to him, "Look, your disciples are doing what is unlawful on the Sabbath." He answered, "Haven't you read what David did when he and his companions were hungry? He entered the house of God, and he and his companions ate the consecrated bread, which was not lawful for them to do, but only for the priest. Or haven't you read in the law that on the Sabbath, the priest in the temple desecrate the day and yet are innocent? I tell you that one greater than the temple is here. If you had known what these words mean, 'I desire mercy, not sacrifice,' you would not have condemned the innocent. For the Son of Man is Lord of the Sabbath." Going on from that place, he went into their synagogue, and a man with a shriveled hand was there. Looking for a reason to accuse Jesus, they asked him, "Is it unlawful to heal on the Sabbath?" He said to them, "If any of you has a sheep and it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will you not take hold of it and lift it out? How much more valuable is a man than a sheep? Therefore it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, "Stretch out your hand." So he stretched it out, and it was completely restored, just as sound as the other. But the Pharisees went out and plotted how they might kill Jesus. So you see what Jesus did? He gave definition and gave purpose to the rules. And what he was essentially saying is, you've put form over substance. You've made a big deal out of the rules instead of the reasons behind them. And the whole reasons behind the laws is for us to love one another and love God. We have the rules to help us to do that, but it's the underlying purposes that's what's important. How many times do we find ourselves putting form over substance in our religion, our religious practices, and our relationship with God? How many times do we go through the motions and lose the substance of what's behind them? It was probably easier to do and more frequently done back before the pandemic, when people went to church just to be going to church because that's what they were supposed to do. They weren't really going with the idea of worshiping and connecting and fellowshipping, which is the whole reason we get together anyway. But not only do some churches go through the motions, but we do individually. If we take the time to read the Bible, we're just reading through to get it done. Or to say a prayer, we're just quickly saying something because we're supposed to be praying. That's not really the point, right? I mean, we have the rules about the Sabbath because we're supposed to follow them out of love, out of what we want to do. So what is the point of Sabbath anyway? There's really two things, right? There's rest, just like God did from the creation story. God wants us to rest, to take a break, take a breath. And when we do, to connect with Him. To put aside worldly things, work, etc., and reconnect with Him out of love, not because we're ordered to. And we have that free choice. So, with the pandemic, as bad as it may be, one positive thing that's come from it is it's forced us to slow down a little bit. But have we really rested? Have we really taken a break from worldly things? Maybe it'd be good to really take a break. Take a break from social media. Take a break from chores. Take a break from what you feel compelled you have to do, and just be. Take a walk. Feel connected to yourself and to God. Because that's the other part of the Sabbath, to keep it holy, to give thanks and appreciation for the creator of it all to begin with. That's something we could all do more often. Not just go through the mode, but actually rest and be connected. So the takeaway from today is really simple. Don't be a refrigerator. Be yourself. Relish in yourself and connect with your creator. See you next time.